I have no idea if we're live or not.
I believe we are. Yep, we are.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to In the Mouth. I'm here with Lilith.
Hola.
Some great stuff for you.
And Olven sleeping in the corner.
It's been a while. It really has been a while. It's been like 3 months.
Yeah. It was just like, we're going to do this once a month. 3 months later, hey.
Exactly.
Maybe we should do this.
I just moved into a new house, so it's kind of like, we just got Wi-Fi like a week ago, and I haven't really like followed up on hanging out with Lilith, so we haven't been doing the stuff.
Also, I've just been really busy, so.
But before we actually get started, I'm gonna go ahead and go onto Google Plus and share place. I don't know why my Google Plus is not where it's supposed to be. We are on a different computer. This is my boyfriend Nathaniel's computer because it was open. So. And
we didn't want to use a cracked screen.
Yeah, it's really hard to read on my computer now.
Also makes it glitch too when I rewatch them out. Listen, it makes it glitch.
Yep. Let's see if the link actually works. That would be great.
Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be good.
It does. It does work. And there is a live chat, which is really nice.
There's fine. I have a scar from Edgar. Nice.
Okay. Go to my other profile. Don't care. Oh my god.
Why? Ow!
You need to calm down.
I slapped the computer.
Why would you do that?
I was trying to fly.
Why? Okay. That's fine.
Alright.
Fuck. Okay. Excuse my French. We're already getting started on the...
I don't believe that was French.
Post. Oh, what are you doing?
I was gonna click on something.
Why?
Because I don't know. I don't know where to go.
Exactly. You don't know what's up.
If this was my computer, I'd be able to figure it out.
Oh shit, I forgot to log out of Facebook.
Well, shit.
Better go do that right now. For you guys this time.
Because it's the spoopy month of October.
So spoopy.
Spoop.
I'm just gonna go ahead and log out because
Spoopy spoop.
Because I don't need notifications popping up on the screen while we're doing this stuff. Okay, let's get started. Okay. The first one is a Twilight fanfiction.
Because we thought, why not?
Because we're cool like that.
Because, you know, Twilight's so scary with the vampires.
It's gonna be a great time. It's called Donkey Colon by Chai Dream Latte. Yeah, my brain glitched out for a second. I did not finish my words. A snarky parody on the mannerism of the Twilight books. After a long weekend of hunting, Edward and Emmett find a donkey in the forest and take her home. Bro.
Excusez-moi.
Alice warns Edward of the great danger that would follow such an action, but what does she know? Not like she can tell the future or anything. Lol, lol, lol. Oh shit, hold on, I forgot to do this. This is Nathaniel's computer, so it doesn't have any of the settings that I usually have. We do this so that you guys can follow along better. Dun, dun.
Dun.
Okay, cool beans. Let's make it
clappy.
Okay. Alright, it starts off with an author's note. Are you gonna start or am I? I'll start. Okay.
I just took a drink.
Author's note. So, kind of a silly parody of Twilight. I don't mean to offend. I mean to make bother people who like and hate Twilight laugh. Oh. Yeah, right though? I've read the books a long time ago and wanted to poke fun at the books for a long time. Now is my chance. Okay, but we need to talk about the Twilight series for a minute. I own them if you want to read them.
No,
I mean...
No. I tried. It didn't end. I literally read a couple pages and went, nah.
Yeah, it's not great. It's not the best. Definitely not the best. But,
The Magic Pickle Fairy. I'll start reading.
Okay.
Edward and Emmett never partaken in humans. As a species that often ate humans, that was unusual. Instead, they put blood of forest animals in their mouths. That's better, right? That's what Carlisle says, at least.
Carlisle?
And Carlisle is always right. If Carlisle told Edward to jump, he would ask, how high? This vampire pack is full of perfections and very healthy.
Oh, are they healthy? I don't think they are. They drink animal blood. One day, Edward and his brother, quote unquote, Emmett, were hunting. Oh my god, reading today.
Hunting.
Like, my words are not coming out right. It was a day to wear sweaters here in Forks, Washington.
Same.
Edward was wearing a fabulous red and yellow sweater to match the leaves.
Same.
It also matched the blood of the animals that they killed.
Also matches Gryffindor.
Are you a Gryffindor?
I'm a Hufflepuff.
I'm a Slytherin.
Fancy.
No. I wonder what Chantel is.
I don't know.
Chantel, what's your house? Just messages her right now, doing it.
Edward and Emmett found their way to their fancy car that went hundreds of miles per hour, since Edward somehow never crashes. His girlfriend thinks he will someday, but nah. Same, but nah.
But nah.
But then they saw an animal that made both of their jaws drop.
You know what I like? These, like, most of the fan fictions that we read on In the Mouth are really poorly written, one, and two, the grammar is atrocious, like typos, and
this one's actually better written than Twilight, you know?
Right? Oh my gosh.
It's better than 50 Shades of Grey. That's pretty easy to do, TBH.
50 Shades of Grey is literally Twilight fanfiction.
I know.
It's so bad.
It's like, oh, he put a thumb on my chin and a thumb on my cheek and a thumb on the top of my head. It's like, where's he getting all the thumbs?
Oh, that's not where I thought you were putting thumbs. I read too much smut. Anyways, it had large teeth, long ears, dark eyes, and fur that matched the color of the Washington sky at ... Twilight. Ew.
I'm sorry.
Get it together, girl. He hawed. I don't know what
He hawed.
Oh. They should have put a hyphen in there. It would have made more sense. He hawed towards the two vampires.
Edward's eyes went straight to the animal and stayed there for a few seconds. Then he asked, "What the fuck is a donkey doing in the middle of the forest?" That's why.
That's not right. That's okay though. Anyways, okay, Emmett's eyes were still fixated on the donkey when Edward had asked that question, but he answered, "Weird stuff happens in these kinds of places. Ever read one of those young adult novels where the young girl moves to a small town and strange stuff happens?"
TBH, nothing happens in the book, just vampires and rain.
Same. You mean my life?
Made a lap around his eyelids.
What?
Does that mean he rolled his eyes?
I think so.
It wouldn't be his pupil, it'd be his iris. Just the pupil. It'd be so it's this black dot floating in the eyes.
Oh my god, why?
Well, this is a domestic animal. We can't just leave him there.
But we can't put him in our car. Carlisle would kill us. Then Emmett bit his lip. Oh. or ask the tribe nearby to do it for him.
Edward tapped his head. Wow.
Smack, 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 smack.
He had to know someone with a crappy car so he can get the dumpy
Dumpy.
donkey somewhere safe. Edward had many friends, like Rosalie, Alice, Jasper, Esme. Oh wait, they're all part of the family and they all have nice cars. How about that girl that really likes him? Is that a girlfriend or something? The one that owns that red pickup truck has rust all over it and has its mirrors breaking off once in a while? All right, Bella. Edward took out his cell phone and called that girl that he touches and stalks sometimes, but apparently doesn't kiss or fuck.
Oh my god! Savage! The author's bitter. She's like, why?
Salty.
Why is this a thing? I was counting on Reese to be on by now, but I haven't seen him yet. That's fine. It's fine.
Everything's fine.
Okay. Star means that we're switching scenes, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Should we switch voices?
No. Do you like my Emmett voice, by the way?
Yeah.
Bella was taking her weekend to really treat Charlie. Charlie's her dad, by the way, guys. Don't get any nasty thoughts.
Oh, God.
Not like she wants to make her father happy. Wait, since she snarled in his presence, but she wanted to do something fancy. Chicken pot pie. Oh, yum. She did the cream base herself, got some fresh peas and carrots from the farmer's market, and she cooked the chicken the previous night. Ew. Okay, that's fine. The oven made it sound. Oh,
you just said the oven
like,
beeped.
Yeah, like a beep. You mean like
no, just went, ah!
a screaming oven. Okay, anyways, and Bella had her oven mitts ready until the phone rang. Rushed her body, oh my god, to get the pie out of the oven and onto the stove. She picked up the phone. She sure hoped it was her vampire boyfriend who watches her at night. Ugh!
Hello? She gleefully asked.
I don't know how to do an Edward voice.
Hi.
Hi, Bella. This is Edward. I sound delayed. Anyways, the voice sounded like an angel's. Oh, wait. Should I maybe retry that?
Yeah.
Hi, Bella. I'm too girly for it.
Hi, Bella. This is Edward.
Perfect. The voice sounded like angels if they were in the skins of a killer. Oh, God.
We found a donkey in the forest during our hunt, and we were wondering if you can get your rickety old truck to transport him to my house.
Bella didn't speak right away. What? How? Who? Forks is a weird town.
You go ahead and do her voice.
Sure?
Okay. Great. There is a sound disturbing the conversation. Oh, Alice is calling. I'm at the entrance of my usual hunting spot. We'll be waiting.
That's so creepy.
Hello.
Oh.
Hey.
Edward took the call. Oh, we're switching scenes again, guys. By the way, that's what those asterisks mean. Edward took the call. Alice's voice sounded like beavers in a hurricane.
Do not bring!
What?
I don't know. What's beavers in a hurricane?
I don't know. Should I do the Alice voice? Do not bring that donkey home. I repeat, do not. Oh, she's a black woman.
Apparently.
Do not bring that donkey home. It will bring you in great danger. Who says it will bring you in great danger? Apparently Alice does. That's fine.
Perry Alice.
I said apparently.
Okay, it sounds like Perry Alice.
Exactly. Paralysis?
Of course, Alice would know. She knows the future, past and present. She knows what happens in alternate universes as well. Kind of the perk of being that kind of vampire. But sometimes Alice would mess with Edward. Like that time when Alice says that werewolves were coming, and if Edward didn't give Alice a silver necklace to ward them off.
Torward.
They would kill the entire family. Of course, werewolves never attacked, and Alice only worn that necklace during proms. Edward read Alice's mind on that trick. Dat spelling though.
It's disintegrating.
Near the end will just be jumbled.
I hope so. Those are the best. Because you have to pronounce it the way that they're spelled and stuff. It's great. This must have been one of those pranks.
Oh, what's the harm of having a donkey for a short amount of time?
But Edward.
Edward hung up the phone and Bella had arrived.
Oh, God.
She had that usual crappy car that she always drove. It had the bed that she never used. Perfect for donkey transport.
Perfect for donkey transport.
Hey!
Hey! Okay. Emmett used his super vampire strength to lift the donkey onto the bed of Bella's truck.
Alright. Bella's eyes looked around to the donkey, then Edward, then Emmett, then Edward again, because he's so hot and what? In that glimmer of the sun.
Ew.
Yeah.
Ew.
The eyes just went back to the donkey for a longer while. It's you.
I do the Bella voice?
Mm-hmm.
You want me to take him to your home?
Where else?
Edward asked. Oh, God.
A huge puff of air came out of Bella's mouth.
How would Bella know? Didn't Alice call you about this being trouble or something? How would Bella
No, she
know?
doesn't know. She's just asking, like, has she called you kind of thing? Edward just let out a chuckle from his chest. Oh.
Oh. Oh, gross. Gross. It made me laugh.
Of course not. Why would she predict donkeys?
Predict?
Donkeys.
Donkey.
Shrek just comes in. Donkey.
This would be a perfect transition piece into a Shrek fanfiction.
Yes.
We've only ever read like 2 of those. Anyways, Bella looked at Edward again, but because of his beauty, but with despairs. What? With despairs? Despair. Jesus. Because a donkey. I told you I can't speak today.
Donkey.
Because a donkey actually happened.
Appeared.
Oh. Apparently. Where did I read happened?
I don't know.
It's nowhere near here. Because a donkey actually appeared? Duh.
You say you are Emmett.
Phooey.
Emmett sat on the edge of the truck bed with the donkey.
You can't believe everything Alice says. Her predictions aren't perfect. What?
Bella squinted her eyes.
Does Edward ever misread a thought someone has?
Edward looked down. He knew that he had to. Of course. I once read that Mike had a crush on you, but he never did anything to make the moves on you. It was a complete misreading.
But it wasn't, which is the funniest thing. In the books, Mike had a huge crush on Bella. Oh, here. But Mike does have a crush on me. Bella implied. Okay. Implied does not mean she said this. Implied means there's a hidden meaning in her words.
I should just like the
God.
I sneeze.
Bless you. Look at Olvin over there.
Just chilling.
Yeah. You know, they can make a drinking game out of this show.
Yeah.
Every time Olvin is mentioned. Every time one of us does something fucking stupid.
Mispronounces. Or make, like, a bodily noise, like a burp or a sneeze.
True.
He always talks to me with intent to...
What?
That's you.
Oh, he always talks to me with the intent to... Edward patted Bella on tush. Pat, pat, pat.
Come on, Bella. Let's get driving.
I like how the guys sound like completely stupid. Okay.
Maybe lock them doors and turn
Ew.
Oh, it did cross Bella's mind that this was probably an inappropriate gesture, but Edward was too pretty and perfect to do any wrong.
What?
Bella got into her truck and put her seatbelt on. Emmett and Edward did the same for their car and gave each other thumbs up. They both started their trip to the Cullen household.
Nom nom. Nom. Hold on. Okay, there we go. Excuse me. When the group drove to the driveway, Alice was standing there with a gleam in her eyes.
You brought her, didn't you?
Oh, Alice is my voice.
Yeah.
You brought her, didn't you? Alice is black.
Yeah, apparently. Edward got out of the car and pointed to the truck driving up to the driveway with the donkey.
Donkey!
Yes.
Donkey!
Yeah, Bella's coming right up.
No, asshole! The donkey! Alice's eyes daggered towards Bella, who was just getting out of the truck. I think you're getting off easy. You're just as much as part of this as Edward. What? What did I just say? I'm going on autopilot, dude. It's fine.
Just say, what do you mean? What do you mean?
Silently dancing. We're both just silently dancing to a song. What do you mean? Bella asked. I asked if you said anything about the donkey, and Edward told me you didn't. You were being gullible. That's what I mean.
Sounds like Shane Dawson when he's trying to be like a woman. Alice crossed her arms.
Why am I all the fucking voices? Jeez. I wonder what gender the donkey is.
Emmett was just placing the donkey onto the ground. He was just about to check the crotch regions.
The crotch!
The
crotch regions.
That was when Alice announced,
It's a female donkey! Oh my god. How do you know?
Emmett asked.
Because I said, hey, Doctor Who. Oh god. Oh my god. Because I sensed that you looked at the donkey's crotch and you announced, she's a girl. Her voice is changing.
Yeah.
It's fine.
The thing about Alice's predictions is that they may not happen depending on the changes of paths. Alice was a bitch and changed her path deliberately. Thanks goodness Alice wasn't in Doctor Who.
Savage. Savage. Okay.
The donkey walked over to the garden and ate Esme's flowers. I'm
Oh
reading for you.
shit. That's fine.
She found them absolutely delicious and the greatest thing she has ever eaten. Granted, the oats her owners gave her were good as well. Not as good as these flowers. Wow. Donkey! Really likes those flowers. Edward chuckled. Ha, ha, ha. Better than the oats her owners gave her.
So, are you reading the donkey's mind, but not mine? Alice just made a 180 towards the front door of the house. Good luck with what's to come. Savage.
Bella bit her lip, as she often did.
I made dinner for Charlie. Call me if you need anything else. She opened the door to her truck.
Okay, Bella.
Edward smiled sexily. Mm-hmm.
But I don't think there's an issue. We'll find the donkey's owner.
The donkey!
Badonka-donk.
I was about to break out into song. Anyways. The chicken pot pie was creamy, fresh, flaky, every flavor that anyone could ask for in a meat pie.
Where's pies in London?
Anyways, Charlie chugged down his beer to make this dinner perfect.
You're better than your mother.
That's Edward's voice.
You're better than your mother.
Perfect. Bella glanced at Charlie blankly. Thanks.
Suddenly, the phone rang. Charlie stood up to answer the phone in the kitchen. Hello?
Wait, you just went from Irish to Russian?
I can't hold an accent, okay? He's international.
I also can't hold an accent.
Hello? So, we need some more help.
Edward began to speak.
The donkey. Rolled all over Esme's garden. Not even sure how we're going to explain that to her. So we put the donkey into our bathtub to clean her off, and she fell asleep. You'll notice that's illegal in Washington state law.
Charlie's face went downwards. His whole face down and slid off
It's
of
like
his face.
It's like a glitch or something.
Ew. Edward's voice sounded like a demon disgusted as an angel. What? Oh, disguised. It's supposed to be disguised. It's disgusted. Ew, what the fuck? He never thought it was smart to not stop Bella from dating him, but he didn't want to be called a communist. It's funny that word's there because you were using a Russian accent. Communist by his daughter.
Daughter.
Well, his doctor is Carlisle, so, I mean, anyways, you know, since teenagers love calling their parents communists. Okay, that is a thing, though. Like, I had a friend who used to call his parents Nazis and commies all the time. And I'm like, bruh, stop.
A jumble of words sounded from the phone. Oh, Charlie, you sound a lot like Bella.
What?
You know, what is this about keeping donkeys illegal? It is under Washington state law that it is illegal for a donkey to fall asleep in a bathtub.
What? Oh my god.
I'm like spitting.
Yeah, I can feel that all over me. It's great. Beautiful stuff.
Stay where you are and make no attempts to run. Folks, police will arrest you. I don't know what I'm doing anymore. It's gone Irish. Again. Again. Probably getting Edward to a criminal record is the best way for Bella to stop dating Edward.
Where are you? Oh, okay. Bella stood up. Wait, what? What kind of stupid law is that?
I've studied law. Not as stupid as you think, aren't I?
Charlie gave Bella a wink.
Wink.
A wink, wink, wink.
Can you wash the dishes this time?
Dad, no. Edward didn't mean to.
This is probably what Edward failed to realize when Alice warned him. Edward needs to read people's mind more often, or not be so damn stupid.
This was my...
I had to burp. It didn't come out.
You look like you were really enthralled by something over there. I was very confused. I was like, what?
I think the intent was clear. He was trying to clean the donkey. Stay here, you're grounded.
You're grounded!
My throat is just like killing me.
We should have done some warm-ups before this. I can't fucking speak and you're just constricting throats. Bella pouted. Damn, foiled again by the threats of being grounded.
Edward looked especially appeasing in his suit and tie. Too bad he's in court for law, he broke.
Wait, this would be a time that you use the fucking asterisks.
Bella just glared at her father until the session started. Female judge.
Oh, yeah. Oh. Okay. The judge slammed her gavel. Is it gavel?
Don't care.
Gavel. Onto the booth. Order in the court. She actually looked young and probably a person to do away with stupid laws. This might go well for Edward. Oh, I forgot that I did the voice of the judge. Do you have an opening statement?
The judge asked Edward. Edward stood up. Yes. I may say that I didn't even know about this law. I was only intended cleanliness for that poor donkey! Edward was now wishing Carlisle gave him a lawyer. But no, this was punishment for the donkey ruining Esme's garden. They would just stop worrying about the law and go about this donkey's home.
And the defendant? That's not the right voice. Okay. Sorry, I had to get it out. I was just like freaking out just now. I'm not saying it again. Charlie stood up. This law.
That's me.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
What is my name for him? This law about having a donkey fall asleep in the bathtub might be odd, but it's the law. This man should be put in prison for life for such a crime.
For life? Oh my god. For a fucking donkey falling asleep in a bathtub? Good argument, Officer Swan! Perfect. Perfect accent.
The judge smiled. Well, any good argument for a pretty lady like yourself?
Oh my god. Oh, they're both ridiculous. Charlie smiled back.
This isn't going to go well. There are many people questioned, such as Bella, Alice, and Emmett. Edward even brought the donkey in and read her mind. No one believed him, of course, and the jury thought he was crazy. Speaking of the jury. Sorry.
Speaking of the jury, do you want to do a voice for the jury?
My throat hurts.
We find that until the law is no longer a law, Mr. Edward Cullen is found guilty and she put blah.
And should be it.
And should be put into life in prison.
Okay, that can't be that long. Wait, Edward's a vampire, and vampires are immortal. Lifetime for a vampire is forever. Volturi is going to kill him when the humans find out that he never dies or grows older. Literally. Can we lower the amount to 100 years in prison?
The jury laughed.
How about
no?
We should read that at the same time because it's a jury. It's a bunch of people.
Yeah, perfect. We just did. It was great.
Yeah. Okay, 200 years in prison. Edward made his argument.
You think you're going to live forever, aren't you? The judge winced. Gosh, you teenagers. That was a weird mix of whatever accent.
Suddenly the doors opened and a tall, slim, pale man with auburn eyes stepped into the door. He wore a plaid shirt and a tie. Calm down. I may have some input as a lawyer.
May I have some input as a lawyer? It says I may have.
I may have some input as a liar.
Liar. Sure, said the judge. What do you have? She went from something to Jacksepticeye.
Well, this is a law that was first invoked when a donkey fell through a second-story floor in the bathtub and onto the mayor of Seattle, the man explained. How was this bathtub in the second floor? Now, was this bathtub in the second floor?
Oh, Edward shook his head. It's you.
Okay. I was like, is it me?
Yeah, it's Edward.
So, we couldn't get the donkey up the step. We had to use the first floor bathroom. It's a shame, because that bathtub doesn't have any jets.
Everyone was thinking that Edward was a rich bastard. Hold on. Never mind. But the band continued.
So no one was harmed through this experience. I'm just going easily.
Okay.
The first account of when this law was there in the first place was that no one would be squashed by a donkey again. This was not the case.
Oh, okay, the judge said. I hereby accuse Edward as not guilty.
The man took out a rope and wrapped it around the donkey.
It's okay, Delilah girl. You'll be with your mommy and daddy.
Wait, are you the owner? Edward asked the man.
Yep, my name is Danny Pecan.
Okay.
Then he explained.
I am of your ilk, although I travel with my wife, with Delilah here. My abilities make me super good at arguing. A little library research doesn't hurt either. I graduated law school in 1954 and passed the bar right away. My wife and I find causes with
Cases? Take a breath.
cases
Also, stop. The voice is so obnoxious.
with fellow vampires and try to soften the blow of the laws they break. I had to help you not get convicted since you helped mother.
Stop. Jesus Christ. Okay. You know, there's a term for people like you, Bella explained. Deus ex machina?
Ex machina.
Okay, I don't know what that means. Alright.
Danny laughed really loudly. I'm not even holding my nose this time.
Thank you.
Guess I am a god placed on a high wire in ancient Greek play. He gave Edward a business card. If you ever need me, call me. Wink, wink. I usually stay in the West Coast. Danny led Delilah out of the courtroom. My nose.
Feels weird.
And that's because you were holding it. Okay. Setting up a date with the judge and was about to walk out of the courtroom himself, but he pointed to Edward.
Nick Stroy young sir.
Oh my god, I forgot Charlie had a fucking accent too. Edward gave Charlie a salute.
Don't worry, I'll marry your daughter when she's young.
Oh my god, what? Charlie scrunched up his face and walked out of the courtroom. You know, Charlie drove me over here, ... Bella looked at Edward. Maybe you can drive me home?
Edward looked up and sighed. I guess. I just hope this won't happen again.
Just trust the minds you read. Bella wrapped her arm around Edward's arm.
Edward laughed. I guess I do.
What? The two left the courthouse and into Edward's car. This was a crazy adventure, and hopefully nothing like attempted suicide, drastic breakups, or werewolf love triangles will happen yet to come. I have no idea what that just said, but all right. That was Donkey Colin. You know, it was kind of horrific and weird. But it's fine. It's fine. I'm just checking on, you know, things to make sure, like to see if anybody is even watching.
What is my life?
Usually whenever we read like live, Reese is the only person that's watching, and I haven't heard from him at all.
There's just nobody watching, like, oh.
Exactly. The link to the...
I didn't share the link.
To the episode, though.
Yeah, Mom.
Dun dun. Dun 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 dun.
Yeah, Mom.
What?
I don't know.
What do you need from me? Okay, anyways, we're moving on. Oh, shit. Why is everything so out of place?
Okay, I'm a lesbian now. Why am I still getting my period?
Same. Alright, this one is called Why Carcat and John Are No Longer Allowed to Babysit. Are not allowed to babysit.
Fly!
Hey, put your fucking tablet down!
I panicked. I'm sorry.
Fight me. Anyways, this is by Witch of Blood 413. There is a reason why John and Carcat are no longer allowed to babysit any children anymore. What is this reason? Read to find out. This is actually my very first Homestuck fic that I have ever wrote, so it's pretty cruddy. Sorry, not sorry. It's rated T, because none of us wanted to read smut today.
It's T for Thomas the Train.
T for titties and beer. Sorry.
T for testicles.
What? Okay, alright. That's fine.
Okay, so I had written half of this during technology class a few months ago, but never finished it. I saw it in my drive after finishing a chapter of Spurb Delta, and was like, why the fuck not? And finished it. So like hell, I own Homestuck. And the stories Carcat reads was something funny I saw on YouTube called Carcat is Not Kid Friendly by Carcat Fantas for case. You should watch it if you like this story.
No read! Okay.
No, I don't want to.
You don't want to read anymore? Okay, guys, sorry, that's it. I will see you later. Thanks for tuning in for the one fan fiction that we read. No, I'm totally kidding. Totally doing an outro right now. Okay, it took us stuck up until 40 minutes to read that last one.
Wow.
Yeah, we need to pick it up because Nathaniel gets off work at 5 and I have to go pick him up. And he's going to want this computer.
Yeah.
Okay, anyways. John couldn't believe what he was seeing. Baby trolls. Baby trolls everywhere. One that looked strangely like Carcat was nibbling at his ankles, and one that looked like a ghost-obsessed girl was rubbing her head on the leg. At heads. Their bodies looked like bugs or grubs.
Hey, stop that.
He cried as he ran over to the Vriska grub to stop her from ponding on the Tavros grub. The Gamzee grub stopped hugging the Fago bottle and started hissing at Vriska, but she just hissed back. I totally took over your paragraph.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You can read the next two.
Okay.
John quickly pulled her away and put her over to the Terezi grub. He glanced at Tavros only to see Gamzee rubbing his head against the crying Taurus. Aw, that's Tavros. Okay. The air sighed in relief, only to had a Solix grub floating right into his face. Then he moved to his hair and started snuggling and purring in his hair. I'm so confused about what's happening already.
He heard tiny whining coming from his foot, and he looked down to a sad
Nepeta.
grub. She kept on jumping and clawing on his leg, trying to tell us something. He sighed and picked her up and put her on his shoulder. She squeaked with joy and rubbed her head against John's cheek.
Nice.
He looked around the room to look for the other grubs and saw that the Eridan grub and Pfeffery grub sleeping next to each other while the Equius grub stand guard. Oh, cute.
You just say, like, as you're like reading through, I correct you on everything. It's fine. That's your paragraph.
Oh, John counted up the grubs on his finger and realized something. One grub was missing. H felt a deep dread.
A deep dread!
The grub missing was Kanaya.
Good job!
Yeah! Rose's girlfriend. Oh, God. Rose is gonna kill him if he doesn't find her. He looked around only to see her in a corner of a room, licking away some dust from Karkat's cheek. Karkat's check. He sighed in deep relief for the second time that day. Oh, if this is hard, then he can only imagine how Karkat is doing.
Oh, God. Karkat is not doing so good. Not good at all. Instead of one set of human grubs, he got another from this new universe. 8 goddamn human grubs are just in front of him, looking at him, waiting. He said that if the wood stopped running around like climb beasts, then he would tell them a story. He said, okay, well, it's freaking story time, you little nuke suckers. Something I wrote like 55 minutes ago. This should be all in caps. Karkat is an angry fucking troll. Is everyone here? He glanced around to see all the stupid humans were sitting in front of him.
John and the humans, Jake and Roxy, were looking at him like he was a superhero or some shit. Rose and the other blue-eyed human, Jane, were patiently waiting for him to start. Jade looked like she was about to fall asleep, but was nudged awake by Rose. And the shade-wearing poser and his shade-wearing brother were just looking with stoic stare. Once an asshole, always an asshole. Okay, well, let's start. He coughed. Everyone is different. By Karkat Ventus. Everyone is different. No two people are the same. Some people are about to be run over. Tavros has about 5 seconds. He showed them a picture of Tavros in his wheelchair with a truck behind
Oh my God.
He flipped the page. Some people are very tall and merciless. Gamzee is destroying scrub.
A scrub.
He showed a picture of Gamzee with burning buildings behind him and fighter jets. He flipped the page again. Some people are blind. Terezi looks like a dude.
That's true, though.
He now showed a picture of Terezi with a picture in her hand of a scale meat. Page. Some people are very into bestiality.
Ew.
Equius mounts horses in the more ways than one.
Oh my God.
He showed a picture of what looks like Equius humping a horse. Flip. Some people wear dresses. Kanaya is a fucking pimp.
True. Shit.
The new picture was of Kanaya with a large hat and big chains coming down her neck. Behind her was Vriska and Rose, both in bikinis. Flip. Some people has...
Hold on, I can't.
rigged their friend's computer with explosive. Solix has. This picture showed Solix with his hand on the pump of TNT and a cord leading toward a troll hive. A speech bubble showed the words, "Cocking!"
Cocking!
with arrows pointed towards him and a stick figure kicking his head. Flip. Some people have need serious help. The picture showed Area de Aradia on a jump rope with a speech bubble that said, "I'm destroying architecture for fun!" Flip. Some people are being fangoriously devoured by a gelatinous monster. The fairy's legs are being digested.
Perfect.
The monster with tentacles coming out. Picture shows a fairy with a smile on her face, draw over with a frown, and monster with tentacles coming out from the bottom of the page and is eating her legs with the bone snapping. Flip. Everyone is different. No two people are not on fire. Oh. The final picture was of everyone, but with gray flames on all of their bodies.
Okay. Up to the kids' eyes. They were just staring at him. They didn't like that one, huh? Honestly, though, that was a weird-ass story. Carcat looked around and saw another book. He got up and picked it up, looking at it. The title said, "The Very Hungry Caterpillar." Yes. And showed a poorly drawn, colorful caterpillar. This might entertain the puny minds, since they weren't capable of enjoying that masterpiece that was just read to their ungrateful little selves. Anyways, Carcat grabbed a pen and started to write a bit on the whatever. Vantus gotta make this shit seem impressive to calm their puny little minds. Carcat whipped around and held up the book, pointing at the bug. Holy shit! It's the Very Hungry Caterpillar, you little nuke stains! He brought the book closer to their faces so that they could see the writing that he had done. It said, "Fucking Starving Ass Bitch" by Eric Carle. Carcat shoved the book even closer to their faces. Just look how hungry this fucker is. On Monday, he ate through an apple, but he was still hungry. On Tuesday, he threw 2 pears, but he was still hungry. On Wednesday, he ate through 3 plums, but he was still fucking hungry. On Thursday, he ate through 4 goddamn strawberries. 4! But fuck me, that little bulge lick, oh my god, was still fucking hungry. On Friday, he ate through 5 oranges, skins and all. Carcat pulled the book away towards his chest. 5, you little shits! He yelled. Then he thrust the book back to their little faces. But his bottomless chasm of an invertebrate stomach still demands more food. Carcat looked at the kids and growled, "Holy shit balls. He is an unstoppable machine." Carcat looked at the kids and waited. For what? Anything. Just any type of reaction from their little mouths.
Soon, he got his response, but it wasn't something he intended. Little Jade just stared at him and said, "Fuck." While all the other kids looked at her and began saying different swears. Shit! Dick! Piss!
Carcat stared at all the kids
Balls.
and realized what he had done.
Ah, shit.
I regret nothing! Witch of blood out. Deuces. Alright, what'd you think of that? That was horrifying.
This little fucking starving ass caterpillar, that's an empty Pepsi can.
Why did you grab the one all the way over there?
I don't know.
You derp. Oh, I had not even realized that this might have adult content.
Maybe we should read The Little People real quick, just so we can get that out of the way too.
Yeah.
And then end it with, a nice little Dan and Phil.
This might take a while. It seems pretty long.
Let's do it.
Alright. It's called The Little People by Pippinacious.
Sure.
This is on Reddit, no sleep. This is the creepypasta. Oh, okay. My phone was distracting me. And it was because every time I scroll, I can see it happening on my phone over there. And it's distracting me.
All right. Oh, wow. Submitted 2 hours ago.
It won August of 2016. It was rated top.
Grandma Eileen came into some money in 1962 after the death of Grandpa Joe. With it, she moved herself and my father far away from the only life they'd ever known in a small village in Ireland to a bustling U.S. city. I feel like that sentence was a bit too long.
Right?
There, she made a name for herself as a seamstress, selling her craft to the high society folk. Dad got himself a couple of business degrees and started helping out on the operations side of things. And it was through his work that he met Mom. Apparently they're Irish, by the way.
Perfect. By the time my brother Alan and then myself were born, Grandma's solo operation had grown into a family-run corporation overseeing a handful of dry cleaning and fitting shops with enough employees to run each.
We were a tight-knit family, and since Grandma would have been on her own otherwise, all lived together in a large 2-story house. My parents remodeled the second floor into an apartment so that Grandma would have her own space, away from the rambunctious activities of 2 young boys. When my parents would go out, Alan and I would tromp up the stairs so she could watch us, which would inevitably lead to arguments over incredibly important matters, like who got to sit in the big red recliner, what to watch, or who got to snuggle Pris, Grandma's sweet Maine Coon.
Oh, kitty! It seemed to me that Grandma always sided with Alan, which he lorded over me with a smug smile, while I was left sulking and petulant. Petulant?
Mm-hmm.
When I tried to tell my parents about the obvious favoritism, they just said that Grandma loved us both equally.
In addition to her obvious bias, Grandma had also always been a little eccentric. That's it was leftover superstitions from the old country, omens of bad luck and the like. So when she sat us down one night while we were visiting the apartment, I wasn't concerned. Never speak to the little people,
She said gravely.
If they ever make themselves known to you, don't acknowledge them. Don't even look at them.
You know they're Irish, right?
Do you understand? I don't get.
I can tell. I'm catching a little bit of Indian in there. Why? I asked at the same Alan asked. Who are the little people?
She regarded us with an almost panicked expression. No questions. Just listen and do as I say. Okay.
Okay. I squirmed nervously under her intense scrutiny and managed a stiff nod. Alan furrowed his brow uncertainly, but finally did the same. Grandma remained thin-lipped and serious throughout our visit, her eyes darting to and from the front windows at the smallest of sounds. So I was relieved when my parents came home and we were free to go back downstairs. Our subdued behavior for the rest of the night didn't go unnoticed, and when Dad was tucking me into bed, asked what was wrong.
You go ahead, read that line, and I'll read the rest.
Okay. What's a little people, Dad? Grandma was talking about them. I paused.
Oh, hesitant to make myself seem like a baby.
She made them sound scary.
He chuckled, and I immediately relaxed. How bad could it be if Dad was so dismissive? I'll read the next paragraph, too. Just a fairy tale, kiddo. Let me guess. Grandma was saying to ignore them or something, right? When I nodded, he said, she used to say the same to me when I was your age. It's just one of her stories that she brought over from Ireland. Don't worry about it. You get some sleep now. Love you. Just kidding.
Reassured, I was able to fall asleep quickly and peacefully. Grandma's warning about the little people didn't trouble me again, and soon enough I had forgotten all about it. Oh. You want to read or me?
You.
I want a pet Pris now.
I whined at Alan, who had been hogging both the recliner and the cat all afternoon. He stuck his tongue out at me and hugged Pris closer to him to keep me from trying to take her. I balled my hands into fists and breathed heavily through my nostrils, as if my frustration would do anything but make my brother keep Pris from me even longer.
Grandma!
I finally shrieked.
Alan won't let me play with Pris.
I heard her ducking her tongue from...
Sorry, it's right here.
Clucking her tongue from the kitchen when she poked her head in. Her seemed more aimed at me than Alan. What have I told you about yelling in this house, young man?
With no help coming from her, I grumbled something about going to play outside and stomped my way down the stairs and out to the backyard, where I plopped myself down in a huff and began plucking blades of grass and tearing them to shreds. I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to cry.
You okay there, child?
Someone asked.
I jerked around to find a speaker, and there, half hidden in Grandma's rose bushes, was the tiniest person I'd ever seen. It's me!
The Hobbit.
Ah!
It's Lilith the Hobbit.
Thinking at first, and that it was a trick of light and shadow, but no. There was suddenly a man there, standing at no more than 2 feet. He was dressed in delightfully bright colors from head to toe, all of which seemed just a hair too big for him. His hat, a floppy thing with a tinkling bell on the end, kept sliding down all over one eye.
He grinned at me. He grinned at me and offered a flourishing bow, which sent the hat to the ground and revealed a shiny bald head. I giggled despite my nervousness and watched him scramble to pick it up and set it back in place.
Just now.
Lilt to his voice, the kind Grandma had.
Grandma has a sweet lilt.
Yeah, she's fucking Irish.
Are you all right?
I bit my lip and started to get up. It wasn't his smallness that unsettled me. A child's mind is very accepting. It was the fact that he was a stranger. My parents' lessons about stranger danger were not unheeded.
Wait!
He held out a hand, and in his palm was a perfectly smooth, round rock that changed colors as he moved it about in the sunlight. It's hollow!
Hollow!
I'll help you feel better.
I was fascinated by the stone and took a step forward, but stopped myself before I reached him. I'm not supposed to take things from strangers. I felt a touch of pride at having remembered that.
Right you are, lad. Right you are. So let me introduce myself so that we can be friends, aye?
Oh my God.
He sounds like a leprechaun to me.
Okay, but hold on. That is exactly the line that the clown used in It.
Yeah.
Well, you're you, and I'm me. Now we know each other, so it's fine.
Yeah.
I don't usually come out when you folk are around, but you seem so sad that I wanted to do something for you. You'll let Mr. Colin give you this nice present, won't you?
It was just a stone, a very pretty one. What harm could come from that? And he was so very small. I checked to make sure we weren't being watched and hurried over to him to take his offered gift. He dropped it into my open hand and cheerfully encouraged me to give it a good look over. Feeling more at ease, I sat in front of the bush and thanked him for the rock.
Why don't you tell me what was troubling you before, child?
I frowned sharply. My mood darkened by the reminder of Alan and how horrible he was being, and closed my fist around the stone. Oh, bleh. My dumb brother always gets to do whatever he wants, and Grandma just lets him, I complained, and was gratified when Colin tilted his head sympathetically. He's mean to me, but he gets away with everything.
Oh, I understand. I have brothers too, you know, and sometimes I feel the same way.
It felt good to finally be able to talk to someone who understood.
Not at all,
Colin agreed.
Do you know something? I think I can help you.
You can?
He nodded eagerly, so that the bell on his hat jingled.
It sounds like your brother could use a little taste of his own medicine.
That sounded exactly like what he needed. I leaned forward, excited to hear Colin's idea.
Take that stone I gave you and put it in his shoe.
I almost said ass for some reason.
Oh my God!
I'm sorry.
Oh! My disappointment. That didn't sound like it would be a very effective way for me to exact my revenge.
Colin tapped his index finger to the side of his nose.
Don't worry, lad. Trust Mr. Colin.
That night, I did as the little man in the bush had told me, and with some measures of regret because I hated giving it up, put the rock in my brother's shoe. I didn't know what to expect and spent a sleepless night waiting and wondering. It felt like I had just managed to fall asleep when Alan started to scream.
I rushed from my bed and came sliding into the hall at the same time as my parents, who looked only half awake but wholly troubled. I followed them to Alan's room, where he was standing on his bed, pressed against the wall. What's the matter? Dad demanded.
My shoe! It's in my shoe!
He was deathly pale and trembling, his eyes wide like saucers. When my parents tried to coax him down from the bed, I leapt at his shoe and picked it up, eager to see what had caused him such a fright. When I tipped it, only the stone I'd put in the night before tumbled out. Although confused, I was quick to pocket it in my pajama bottoms and held the shoe up innocently.
You want your shoe, Alan? Am I doing that?
Yeah.
There's a spider in it! I saw it crawl in! It's huge! Kill it, Dad!
I left while our parents scoured the room for signs of the giant shoe-dwelling spider and hurried back to my own room. I sat on my bed and plucked the stone out to sit sit in the middle of my palm. I gazed at it wonderingly, gleefully. I knew that the man in the bush had been responsible for what my brother had seen. It made me feel like I'd made a powerful friend. I went back to the bush that afternoon and crouched in the same spot I had been in the day before.
Mr. Colin? I whispered. Mr. Colin?
There was a rustle and tinkling of a bell, and then the small grinning man was standing before me again.
Hello again, child.
He said, go for it.
You go ahead.
He said cheerfully.
Did you do as I told you?
I nodded, unable to hide my pleased smile.
Wonderful. Do you feel a wee bit better now?
Yes.
But surely one little prank isn't enough, is it? Not after all he's done to you.
This time I was slower to agree.
This afternoon, when you're eating your meal, put the stone under his chair.
But what if someone sees it?
No one will, I promise.
Again, I trusted the little man and his advice. I tossed the stone into place before taking my own seat and waited with bated breath for Alan to join me. Mom had made us grilled cheese for lunch, usually my favorite, but today I merely held it in my hands and watched as my brother sauntered in and took his place across from me. What? He asked, frowning when he saw me staring. Nothing, I said, and quickly took a big bite of my sandwich.
He rolled his eyes at me and picked up his grilled cheese. He managed 3 bites before he threw it, gagging, back onto his plate.
Mom!
He cried. Yes, honey?
She was washing up in the kitchen. There's bugs in my food!
What?
She was beside Alan almost immediately, inspecting his sandwich with great concern.
I don't see anything, honey.
There were worms, Mom, and ants.
Are you playing a joke on me, Alan Maxwell?
No, he sputtered, deflating completely when she put the plate back down and he saw for himself the only thing on it was a partially eaten grilled cheese.
Mom excused me once I was done, but she kept Alan at the table to talk about what he thought he'd seen. I pretended to have dropped something by his chair on my way out, as an excuse to get my stone back, but neither took much note of me. I could tell they were both a bit worried, and I didn't let that bother me. I was finally getting back at Alan, and that was all that mattered. I slipped quietly back outside and reported the second success to Colin.
He clapped with delight at my news, which made me puff up with pleasure.
Now tell me, my boy, does that make you feel like you're even?
No, I said, almost crossly. Sorry. Tonight we're going to Grandma's. She's always liked Alan more. I want to make her eat bugs or something too.
Of course.
Colin nodded gravely.
I believe I could be of some help there, lad. More than just worms betwixt bread. Bring your granny and your brother out to this very spot tonight, and we will give her exactly what she deserves.
Hold on. Oh. We shared a conspirator's smile and agreed that I would return that evening after supper. It was easier than I thought to get them outside. Alan was feeling fidgety and nervous, and that, in turn, was making Grandma feel anxious. After a tense dinner during which Alan kept looking through his food for insects, I asked if they wanted to go outside and walk around the yard with me. Alan seemed hesitant, but Grandma hurriedly agreed on both of their behalf.
After making sure Pris was lounging safely inside, the 3 of us tromped out to the garden. We made the rounds to each of Grandma's flower beds, Alan and I listening politely while she explained what plants were what, but all the while I had my sights set on the rose bush.
When we finally got it, I heard the tiniest of bell tinkles from somewhere in the tangled depths, and I knew Colin was there. As agreed, I nonchalantly dropped the stone by the bush and called my brother over to look at something. I didn't know exactly what Colin was going to do, but if we're anything like his previous 2 pranks, it was going to be great. I don't see anything,
Alan said irritably, peering into the bush.
Look closer.
By then, Grandma had noticed our unusual interest in her roses and had started to come over. When she was just beyond arm's reach, the stone at my feet flashed a bright gold, and then its surface faded into a murky black.
A murky black. I fell back in surprise, and Alan tried to as well, but something had him around the waist. Around the wrist, sorry. A vine from the rose bush, thorny and cruel, was biting into his flesh. He cried out and clawed at the vine, but another shot out and took him by his other wrist. Grandma!
Oh.
It's you.
Oh, we both screamed, even as she tried futilely to tear at the plant, bloodying her palms and fingers on the thorns.
I hugged Alan around the waist, trying to drag him back, begging Colin to help, but the vines continued to twist and turn up Alan's arms until they were lost from sight. Grandma beat against a bush, wailing like a banshee from one of her stories. Baby. Alan looked at her, his eyes glassy and his pale lips flecked with blood, and then he was gone, yanked impossibly into the bush. Grandma collapsed to her knees in front of it, reaching for the spot where Alan had been. Colin! I shouted. Help! Help, Alan!
At the sound of his name, Grandma turned to me, and I saw such fear, such anger in her expression. I thought she was going to strike me, and maybe she was, but the sound of a tinkling bell froze her solid.
Oh, shit.
Consider your debt repaid, Eileen O'Hara.
Colin's voice sounded from somewhere far away, much too far to be in the bush, and then there was silence.
Grandma Eileen came into money in 1962 after the death of Grandpa Joe, a death she had arranged with the help of the little people. All they had asked for in return was to give up the love of her firstborn son. She agreed and celebrated the end of her abusive, alcoholic husband before taking her money and fleeing to America. Escape, but the little people are patient, and they do not forget.
She knew they had found her again. She heard their whispers outside her window. She didn't know how, not after so much time. She tried to warn us, but we didn't listen. It wouldn't have mattered anyway. The little people had come to collect, and collect they did. Dad's relationship with Grandma was never the same after Alan disappeared. He said he didn't blame her, that he knew she would have died before she let anything happen to my brother. But there was no warmth in his eyes anymore, no affection.
A year later, Grandma wasn't invited to join us in our new home. They told her the new house was too small, and the truth was it was just too hard for my parents to see her. With nowhere else to go, she ended up in a retirement community where she remained, alone, until she passed away in her sleep sometime later.
When Mom convinced Dad to collect her things and provide a proper burial as a way to say a proper goodbye, we found that Grandma had kept little, only a few photographs, some clothes, and a murky black stone that she had said reminded her of home.
Damn, that was pretty good. Not one of the best that I've read, but
Yeah.
it was pretty good. It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Life Goals, Dan and Phil.
By October Gloom.
There are no archive warnings. And my take on what would ensue if Dan and Phil were to talk about each other and their relationship in a BuzzFeed-esque video.
All right. Dan is in italics, Phil is plain text. Okay.
And then the bold must be like just questions.
Yeah. How long have you been together?
It's been 7 years today! By the way.
Okay. Read it.
It's been about 6, almost 7 years.
Going strong since 2009.
Oh, I forgot. Okay, the regular is Phil. Okay.
Yeah. How did you meet? It was really lame on my part. Phil was a bit more of a MySpace celebrity around 2009, who more or less, oh my god, I'm doing it. I'm doing the accent really subtly, but it's there. Who more or less was one of the reasons I realized I was attracted to both boys and girls. All I really knew at the time was that he was very, very attractive, and he liked Muse, which I did as well, so I spammed him with tweets until he direct messaged me back. The rest is history.
I don't know how to do Phil's voice. It was 2009. I was in university living with my parents. And Dan thought I was this really cool guy because I was 4 years older. He was a fetus.
Oh, God.
He was 18 and I dyed my hair and had a network of friends who made my nerdiness seem like a cool thing. I recognized his username from Daily Booth and other interactive sites when he tweeted me one day talking about Muse. So I thought I'd message him back. I gotta say, he was so young I wasn't even sure he liked boys. I could never have guessed we'd be here today. He's definitely the best thing that's come out of my continuous internet obsession.
Oh my god. Would you say you have what could be considered a model relationship? Here, I don't think I can really answer this question. It's like, obviously I want to say yes, but I'm biased as my relationship with Phil is literally the most romanticized part of my life. True, though. True fucking that. Literally.
I think aspects of it could be, yeah. You can, in fact, meet real people who are good for you through the internet, and you can pursue people who might seem out of reach. I also think we have a pretty healthy relationship. I know many of our viewers do say that they want a relationship, whether it be platonic or more, that's as strong as ours is.
One word to describe the other person.
Intriguing.
Sweet. What were your first impressions of one another? I'm sure Phil thought that I was inexcusably creepy and a lame twink. I'm sure Phil thought I was an inexcusably creepy and lame twink, but he was literally a real-life character from erotic dreams I would have back then. He also had very silly and cute aspects of his personality that, drew me in more so than the sex appeal. There we go.
Dan was adorable.
Adorable.
All emoticons and doe eyes. Very MySpace and very forward. He presented presence. He still does it himself in a very stylized way online, as he's good at acting confident and nonchalant where he's really insecure and shy, which came out more when we started Skyping and when we met in person.
Do you fight often? In the beginning, we never did, which I think was more of an unhealthy sign than anything, because we had a kind of a romanticized way of looking at each other like everything was perfect, subsequently causing us to not be able to cope when we hit a rough patch and kind of everything just came crumbling down after 4 years. It's been almost 4 years since it was really bad, and we definitely got through it. Now it's like once in a blue moon, we might hit a snag, but we know how to talk through things now. And other than that, it'll just be Phil leaving bloody candles lit and forgetting about them.
Same. I think we had one big rough patch a few years back. We're quite good at communicating with each other. Like each got quirks that might contribute to a bit of sarcasm or little arguments, but we're lucky to have each other in the sense that our personalities have always gelled, and we continue to grow and improve instead of maybe drifting apart or resenting each other, as you see happen in relationships as lengthy as ours is.
TBH, though, this fan fiction is really boring.
Honestly, we should just find a different info one.
All right, sounds good to me. Please. Fan freeform. I want something that's not great, like not best. Oh, Phil is bored and decides to paint. Perfect. Sounds good to me. Painting by regional best. Wait, regional at best. Okay.
The main issue that Phil ran into with having an overactive imagination is that he tended to get bored quite easily. There were lots of things that he could do, like filming a video or eating or answering questions. Eating or answering questions on various websites or bothering Dan. But sometimes those things just didn't sound entertaining, which led to some of the more odd things that he had done. Like the time he decided to learn piano, or when he thought to turn the tables on Dan and take his picture at a completely random time. Or the time he decided to try painting.
Now, it wasn't Phil's first time painting ever, but it was the first time since he'd been in school. It was just that one day when he was looking through his tag on Tumblr and saw some fan art that someone had drawn that looked fairly simple, and he decided that he wanted to try it out. So he grabbed his coat, put on his shoes, and told Dan that he was just going down to the shop to pick up a few things.
What do you need to pick up?
Dan asked. He was using Phil's antics and random trips to pick up odd things from the shop. He was used to Phil's antics. Okay. But he was still always curious as to what he could possibly need that he couldn't just find somewhere in a flat.
Just some paints.
Oh, you could be Dan and Phil. Phil said, trying to get out of the door as quickly as possible to avoid any more questioning from Dan.
Why?
Dan galled. Called.
Because I want to paint.
Because I want to paint.
Because I want to paint. I can dream, Dan.
Can't you just paint on your computer? It's much less mess that way, and it's free.
But it's not the same. Tangible, I can touch and stuff. Phil, that's exactly what tangible means. You just said that you want something that you can touch and stuff.
Oh my god.
Dan said, smirking.
Oh my god.
Stop always correcting everything I say.
Phil said with a smile and no malice behind his words.
Learn how to use the English language.
Dan replied.
Hey, after I go to the shop and get some paints.
Phil said, shutting the door behind him before Dan could reply. Picking out paints from the shop was much harder than Phil thought it was going to be. There were so many different kinds, and some were really quite expensive, but in the end, he just ended up getting a pretty basic set that came with lots of colors and some nice paper. He paid and walked back home and straight into his room before Dan could question him anymore about what he was up to. He got out the paper and stared at it. He was at a complete loss as to what he should paint. He really didn't think this far in advance, and now he was just sitting there staring at the paper blankly. He could ask the internet. They tend to be pretty unhelpful when it comes to stuff like this, but it's worth a shot.
Within a few seconds of posting, he already had more responses than he knew what to do with. Too many of them had to do with Dan and resulted in him blushing. There were other ones like unicorns, Pokemon, lions, landscapes, trees, puppies, and bridges, which weren't all that awful, but still weren't anything that he really wanted to paint. He put his head on his paper and groaned. Why did painting have to be so difficult? He hadn't even gotten to the painting part and he was already stumped. Phil, what are you doing?
Dan said, knocking on the door and walking into Phil's room.
I'm trying to paint.
Phil groaned into his paper.
How's that going for you? Not very well. I can't think of anything to paint,
said Phil as he lifted his head and looked at Dan.
Ask the internet. I did, and it didn't give me any good ideas. They all just wanted me to draw like compromising positions that I'd really rather not paint. I think you should. Sounds really amusing. No, Dan. It's called Draw Phil Naked, not Paint Dan Naked. Come on, it would be amazing. Horrifically amazing? No, Dan. Just horrific. I'm not drawing us having sex. Can I draw you naked and then you can put it at the end of your video? What? No, Dan, you can't do that!
Dan said, looking at Dan. Phil said, looking at Dan lazily laying on his bed. He couldn't actually be serious, could he?
Why?
Dan whined.
Because they'll find out eventually. They always do.
Phil said, picking up a paintbrush and pointing it at Dan. Dan yelled in disgust, and Phil... And Phil looked over to notice a giant red blob of paint on Dan's cheek. He tried to stifle his smile as he saw the look of surprise and disgust on his boyfriend's face, to no avail. Boyfriend!
Hey!
Hey!
Why the hell did you do that? Dan asked him accusingly as he walked over and grabbed a paintbrush and got a giant lump of blue paint and painted onto Phil's face. There, now we're even. Oh, this is so freaking cute!
We got a fangirl over here.
Hey!
Hey! Hey!
Dan, I didn't mean to get it on your face. You know that, right? Now we're even.
Dan said with a smirk. Smirk. And with that, Phil took the brush that was already in his hand and ran it across Dan's face.
No, now we're even. And then, because they had the combined maturity of a 10-year-old, they had an all-out paint fight that involved them using up to most of the new paint that Phil had got, and them staining most of the clothes that they were wearing in Phil's bedding. And the most fun either of them had had. Dan, look at what you've done. Me? You're the one that started this.
Dan said, gasping for breath from laughing so hard. Stop skipping words.
I was waiting for you.
You completely skipped that part.
Oh.
That's fine.
How did I start this? You're the one who painted on my face. You threw paint at me. Now look at us. We're such a mess. Oh dear. Look at the bed. The duvet is covered in paint, and I think it's I don't think it's gonna come out.
Phil said, walking over to the bed.
So we'll get a new one. We've had this one for ages. Look at our clothes, Dan. That's a new shirt, and it's never going to be the same.
Phil trailed off, looking at Dan's shirt, which really was ruined beyond repair. Pierre.
I read it. Phil, stop worrying. It'll be fine, okay? Here, take off your shirt. Dan said, holding out his hand. Why? Phil asked suspiciously. Because they're covered in paint and I'm going to go wash them. But then I'll be shirtless. Why are you acting like I've never seen you naked before? Because when I think about the fact that I let you see me naked, it makes me want to go take a long shower and cry.
Same. Phil said as he took off his shirt and handed it to Dan.
Hey, that's mean. Dan said as he set their shirts off to the side and started to take the comforter off the bed. Doesn't make it any less true.
Phil said as he grabbed the comforter from Dan and followed him to the laundry room.
Why do I stay with you?
Dan said. Dan said, Phil said, Dan said. Phil said. Setting the shirts on the ground and motioning for Phil to set the comforter on top.
There, now that's out of the way. I'm ready for us to deal with that at a later date. Because you love me.
Phil said, smiling. Phil said. Phil said. Dan said. Phil said.
Yes. And Dan, this really is not a good thing to put off. The longer we leave it, the more obvious the stains will be. So please don't procrastinate this one thing. Fine, I won't.
Dan said with a huff as he put all the ruined items into the washing machine and started it up.
And I do love you. I don't really know why, though. I hate you.
Phil said, turning around and heading to the living room to check up on the internet.
I hate you too.
Dan said with a smile.
So I guess you're not going to get to the painting today? I did paint. You've seen your face, right? Yeah, about that. Can you help me get it off? I'm afraid I'm going to forget, and then pictures are going to end up on the internet.
Dan trailed off.
Here, yeah, come here.
Yeah, come here. Phil said as he grabbed a napkin left over from when Dan had lunch. He leaned in and started to wipe the paint off Dan's face. He almost got all of it, enough that it wouldn't be noticeable. He leaned back and noticed that Dan was smirking.
What? You stick your tongue out when you're trying to focus on something. Shut up,
Phil said, looking down to try to hide the blush that was spreading across his cheeks.
No, it's cute. I like it when you do it. Now come here so I can get the paint off your face.
Oh, God.
Hey!
Phil leaned forward and closed his eyes so that Dan could do just that when he felt Dan's lips quickly press against his. This makes me so uncomfortable, but Lilith is loving it. By the time he had opened his eyes out of surprise, Dan had already leaned back and was smiling, clearly satisfied with himself.
What was that for?
Phil questioned.
Well, you looked really kissable, and I'm your boyfriend, so I kind of feel like when you look kissable, I should kiss you because, well, I'm allowed to.
Dan explained.
I hate you.
Phil said with a smile.
I know. Now come here so I can actually get the paint off your face.
Promise you won't kiss me?
Nope. But I'm trying my hardest not to. You're such a dork.
Takes one to know one.
Hey.
Hey. Dan said with a smirk as he cleaned off Phil's face, pressing one last kiss to the corner of his mouth when he was fresh. And with that, we're done.
Fox with fan.
We're just gonna close that.
Frock.
What?
No, Lacey was messaging me and she's like, what? Oh my god, cool. Jesus, Lilith, frock, truck, duck. Whoa, dude, babe, what? Cool. Awesome, like, oh my god, frock.
Did you tell her that we were live streaming?
No, I was talking about the Shakespeare in School stuff.
Oh, you should have. You should have told her about our live streaming. Let's screen share our desktop. Or we could just do that. That's fine, too.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Sup, y'all?
Anyways, that was that. In the mouth. Now I have to go update all the info to it and come up with a title and a thumbnail. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be fucking great.
It's going to be great.
Okay. So you guys heard many accents today. And we were thinking about doing another video in,
someday.
Occasion of Halloween. And
Halloween.
we were also talking about doing challenges on the channel. So if you watch this to the end, you actually get to this point where we're done. Go ahead and leave a comment down below of what you'd like to see us do. because I know that we do really long videos and it's probably like, when is it going to end? But yeah, go ahead and let us know what you'd like to see. Let us know what kind of fan fictions you want to hear. And subscribe if you haven't already. Because I don't really know how we're getting up to like 90 views and like only have 9 subscribers. Guys, we only have 9 subscribers. Shout out to those 9 subscribers though. Thanks, guys. Yeah. That'll do it, I guess. So I guess we're gonna go. And I'm gonna go get started on dinner.
Fancy.
Yeah. Alright, guys. We're gonna go now.
Bye.
Bye. Deuces.